You know, I think it's kind of weird that Jesus and Paul didn't agree about Christianity. Shouldn't two leaders of the same faith teach things that, even if they're not the same, are at least reconcilable?
I bet it's the dynamic equivalence theory.
The what?
My theory that translation can never be perfect because context is super important and affects everything.
That makes sense, but how does that relate to what I said?
Well, Jesus was raised Jewish, and Paul was Roman and hated Jews, at least for a long time. So, they had different cultures and beliefs in forming their interpretations of faith. That's a bit of an extreme example. Usually, interpretations aren't contradictory like theirs were, but it all comes back to context.
Actually, I wrote a book on it, not on Jesus and Paul, but rather on the translation between Jewish languages and non-Jewish languages. It's important to take Jewish perspectives into account when translating Jewish words.
But how do you account for the differences between Jewish religious beliefs and the cultures and non Jewish ones? Are there categories?
You betcha there are.
How did you just appear out of nowhere?
It's Kabbalah magic. Anyway, there are 10 categories of differences between Judaism and Christianity that we've found.
Yes, we can back that up with our databases as well.
Seriously, how are you guys doing that?
But anyway, given that the Bible was written in the Jewish languages Aramaic and Hebrew, and then translated into English and other non-Jewish languages, I wonder how the contextual differences change each Bible's interpretation.
They should be pretty similar, shouldn't they? I mean, it's the same text.
Nah, we are all totally different. We even have outright mistranslations, and the event of all of our creations were very political and not necessarily linguistically objective.
Well, we've kept a very old copy of the Hebrew Bible since the 12th century, and considering how often holy books got burned back then, that's pretty much as good as you're going to get. Also, we have very strict policies about transcription, so you can rest assured that there aren't any mistakes in our copy. When we're transcribing the Bible, if we make a mistake, we might even have to rewrite the whole page, depending on the mistake, and there's a lot of double checking. So if you want to check back to our Hebrew version of the Bible, here it is.
Then all we need is someone to do it, and maybe a whole bunch of Hebrew speakers to try to mitigate translation bias.
But where will we find someone to do it? It's so much work.
Look no further. I volunteer.